the time has come for Mayasura to deliver his promise. So he brings the Mayasabha back. And Mayasabha is exactly like the way he had explained. It's not illusion. He creates a palace in such a way that people will think that there is a door there, but there is no door. There is nothing. You can just walk like this. People think that okay, there is no door and I can walk, and they get hurt, like they bump into a wall. So it is. Sometimes it also happens, right? You have seen funny videos where there's a glass and people think that there is nothing under it. So things like that. And where they think that there is a pond, there is no pond. Where they think there is no pond, there is pond. So all of those kind of things he constructs, he creates, and he delivers that to Pandavas. Everybody is excited to see, and the housewarming or the palace warming, whatever you call it, that happens. After that, one fine day, they were all sitting and discussing, and just then Narada Mahamuni comes. Narada Muni comes, yes. Okay. So, Narada Muni comes, and in the conversation with Narada Muni, then what he does is, this conversation between Narada Muni and Dharmaraja is very similar to the conversation between Bharata and Sri Rama. When Sri Rama was in Bharadwaja's ashram, Bharata goes and meets with Sri Rama, right? He wants to convince Sri Rama to come back. At that time, Sri Rama asks a bunch of questions to Bharata. He asks, how are you taking care of the citizens of Ayodhya? Are you really giving them all the facilities that are needed? Are you taking care of children? Are you taking care of women? Are you taking care of people who are not physically fit? Similarly, Narada Mahamuni also inquires about all those kind of things with Dharmaraja. He asks Dharmaraja, how are your projects going on? What are the things that you are doing in order to support the cultivation? What are the things that you are doing in order to support the trade across the country? How are you taking care of people who are physically handicapped? Are you making sure that they are being taken care of the citizens properly? And in case there is a person in your military and he's died, how are you taking care of their family? Are you making sure that the family is not suffering because of the loss of this person? So it's a complete chapter about the inquiries of Narada to Dharmaraja, and Dharmaraja quietly listens to everything. What it means is, it talks a lot about public administration. It talks a lot about how appropriate king should be. How should he take care of his subjects? How should he conduct himself? What is the right way of ruling a kingdom? All of those things. I'm not really going into the details of all of that, but Narada Mahamuni comes and tells him, asks him, inquires him about all of those things. And then he says, I'm doing all of that and thank you for coming. And then Dharmaraja goes on to ask. Dharmaraja is very curious at this point, because nobody has ever seen anything like Mayasabha. And Narada Mahamuni, what he does, he keeps moving between different lokas. Do you know how many lokas are there? There are 14 lokas. 7 above and 7 below, including the 7th one is Bhuloka. Bhuloka is where we are. There are 7 lokas above us, and 6 above us and 6 below us. Yes.
Wait, what are the lokas?
You want to know what the lokas are?
Yeah.
Including us, 8 below.
Yeah, what's one of anything about the lokas?
Okay, I will tell you what those lokas are. I have it. Hold on a second. So we will come from earth to above, okay? From earth it is Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Swargaloka, Maharloka, Nanaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. So those are the ones above.
It's like the world.
Sorry?
Are lokas like the world above and below?
Correct. Higher beings will live above us. Higher beings in the sense, more intelligent people, more spiritually enlightened beings live above Bhuloka. Immortal people, some of them are immortal, probably not everybody is immortal.
What about animals?
Animals live in Bhuloka. Animals and human beings are almost at the same level of intellect. So, what?
Is it like the 6th one?
What is 6th one?
The 6th loka.
6. No. Bhuloka. See, 1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bhuloka is the 7th one. Okay?
Yeah.
So the topmost one is Satyaloka. That is Brahmaloka. That is where Brahma resides. Satyaloka. Tapaloka is where all the rishis are. That is the penance layer. Penance happens there. And Gnanaloka, the world of knowledge. Maharloka is where all the saints live. Swargaloka is where the gods like Indra, Varuna, all of them live in Swargaloka. Bhuvarloka is where I have seen a lot of birds and flying beings actually are there. According to this picture, it is depicting as flying beings. So maybe Garuda, things like people like that. Maybe those people. And then Bhuloka, below Bhuloka, it is Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Patala. So those are the lower lokas. That is inside here. So I can give you the picture also. It is very interesting. We can upload this picture. Okay, so that is about all these lokas. So Narada Mahamuni has the capability of, or he is moving between all these lokas. He can go from one loka to the other loka. So the time is different in all these lokas. In the sense, one day for us here, or so many days and yugas for us here, is not even a blink of an eye in Satyaloka for Brahma. There is one more interesting story connected to Mahabharata with respect to how time flows in different lokas. We will talk about that probably next week, if time permits this week. So then, Dharmaraj, basically why we are talking about this is Dharmaraj is very curious to know from Narada Mahamuni about if there is any other palace which is equivalent to Mayasabha. He wants to know about that. Then he asks this question. So Narada Mahamuni goes on to explain that at least in the Bhuloka there is nothing more magnificent than this, than Mayasabha. But in the other lokas, I have seen many different sabhas which are different, which are much more superior or much more comparable to Mayasabha. He goes on to explain how Swargaloka, the palace in the heaven looks, Indra Sabha looks. Indra Sabha, according to his explanation, Indra Sabha is in the is in the world above Bhuloka. So it is in sky. That is how he explains this. Meaning we are. So it is in the sky, and length and width and height of that he explains, and it looks golden in color. All those explanations he gives. And there are some other places, some other sabhas, which is Brahma's place. Brahma's place. What Narada Mahamuni says is that I am in short of words how to explain this. I don't even know how to put it in words. It is so beautiful. I have no words to explain this. And then when it comes to Varuna Sabha, he says it looks white in color. And another Sabha he explains which has temperature control. So you don't feel too cold or you don't feel too warm in that place. And so he goes on to explain so many different kinds of Sabhas, and each of those palaces is distinctly different from the others. You should, I don't want to go into the details of all of that because it is not so much relevant to Mahabharata. But if you guys are interested, at some point of time, you should go and read about each of those. And in each of those, he explains what kind of people live. And then, at last, he comes and explains about Yama Sabha. Yama Sabha is also very, very beautiful. It is also adorned with jewelry, jewels and all of that. And then he goes on to say, your father lives in Yama Sabha. And when he was talking about Indra Sabha, he talks about Harishchandra. Harishchandra lives in this Indra Sabha. And he talks about so many people who were great rulers on the earth and who moved on to the eternal worlds like heaven and Yama Sabha or Varuna Sabha, all of those things. Then he explains about his father, saying that he is in Yama Sabha. There, Panduraju. So there Dharmaraja is stuck. Why is my father not in Indra Sabha? Why is he in Yama Sabha? Yama, you know who Yama is, right?
Yeah.
Who?
God of death.
God of death, correct. God of death. So why is my father not in Indra Sabha is something that is troubling Dharmaraja. Then he asks, why is it that my father is not in Indra Sabha, and how did Harishchandra make it to Indra Sabha but not my father? Then